The A to Z series are a group of cards made up entirely of light machine type monsters, with the 8 main deck monsters all being level 4 unions. Well, except these two. What's a union monster? Well, it's basically a subtype of monster that has the ability to equip itself onto another, usually granting some sort of benefit to the monster it has attached itself to. It can also unequip itself to resummon it back to the field. This subtype of card and the first cards of this series would all be introduced together internationally in the 2003 pack, Magician's Force. Further support would later arrive in Dark Revelation Volumes 1 and 4, Duelist Pack Kyber, Starter Deck Kyber Reloaded, Millennium Pack, Duelist Pack Rivals of the Pharaoh, Legendary Duelists, Ancient Millennium, and Legendary Collection Kyber Mega Pack. Speaking of Kyber, the reason why so much support is coming out in these Kyber packs is because in the anime, this series was wielded by Seto Kyber, debuting in the Battle City Finals. At the time, only X, Y, and Z had been revealed, with their combined form, XYZ Dragon Cannon, serving as their ultimate combined form.
Behold my XYZ Dragon Cannon!
Fast forward to Yugioh GX, and a character called Chaz Princeton would expand on this archetype by creating a second fusion monster, VW Tiger Wing. And then the mad lad did it. He combined both VW and XYZ together to make the ultimate VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon. And it's probably worth mentioning that there is a fatal flaw to these monsters. Being as they are all based on technology, if any of the base monsters don't have the right immunity, then they run the risk of infecting the rest when they merge. However, this can be easily avoided by using the secret A to Z monster, VPN. Or, to be more accurate, today's sponsor, NordVPN. What is a VPN? Well, it stands for Virtual Private Network. Fun fact, if you join a random person's party chat on console, if they really wanted to, they can acquire your IP address. And what can they do with it? Well, they can know your location, they can hack your devices, and they can DDoS your internet if they really wanted to. Basically, a bunch of shady things. However, this is where NordVPN comes in, as what they do is they hide your real IP address and encrypt all the data that comes in and out, making everything you do and say online private and visible only to you. That's not all though. Among a multitude of other things that they can do, VPNs can also change your location, which means you can unlock streaming sites and shows that might not have been native to your country. And right now, if you head down into the description, follow the link and use my code, TGSAnime, you can get a massive discount on a 2-year plan, plus an additional month free with NordVPN. So why not join the award-winning service and game with peace of mind? Thank you NordVPN for sponsoring today's video. Now back to the archetype. What was different about this series was the method for fusion, since typically fusion monsters would need to be summoned with the card polymerization. However, for the V to Z monsters, you didn't require the spell. In fact, all you needed instead was the monster to be on the field.
By banishing V Tiger Jet and W Wing Catapult, I can fuse them together without using polymerization.
This type of fusion summoning would garner the name of contact fusing, and it would serve as a progenitor to future archetypes like the Neo-Spacians, Gladiator Beasts, and even the advanced support for this series. The idea behind an A to Z deck is to gather the cards on the field, so that they can either union combine together or merge to make their ultimate forms. The VWXYZ cards benefit from having multiple different forms that they can choose to go into, based on whatever situation presents itself on the field. However, the downside to this group is that the base form monsters aren't particularly strong in the modern game, and are actually quite slow. ABC, however, are much more consistent, as they all possess beneficial abilities that allow them to get set up for their ultimate form faster. Since they don't need to be just on the field, they can also be in the graveyard to merge. And even better, when their merged form is out, it has a quick effect that can send itself to the grave to summon all of its materials back out, which is a pretty big step up from VWXYZ. In terms of inspiration, it would be safe to say that they draw heavily from either the Super Sentai TV series, known to us internationally as the Power Rangers, or something more like Voltron. Basically anything where there are a bunch of mini mecha robots that combine together to form a giant Megazord-like creature. In fact, their names are interesting and worth noting too, because all of the monsters' names begin with a letter from the alphabet. Which, fun fact, this is going to blow your mind if you didn't know this, The alphabet's name comes from the Greek alphabet's first two letters, alpha and beta. If you smush those two together, you get alpha beta. Alphabet. I never knew that. Madness. In fact, you know what? That's an interesting point too, as there's another archetype that was wielded by Kaiba's rival, Yugioh, who also had a alphabet-based naming scheme for an archetype in his deck. And that was the Magna Warriors. He had Alpha, Beta, Gamma the Magnet Warrior, and eventually they all got retrained. And both of these got a combined form and a combined form, just like the A to Z monsters. So it could be said these two series of cards rival each other in a manner similar to that of Yugi and Kaiba themselves. But the question then becomes, which one is better? I'll let you decide. So anyway, now that we know a little bit more about the A to Z series, let's take a look at each of the individual monsters, starting with A. Assault Core, B. Buster Drake, C. Crush Wyvern. Each of these monsters share an archetypal effect of, once per turn, you can either target one light machine type monster you control, equip it to that target, or unequip it and special summon it. A, B, and C all have their own unique abilities that they grant to the monster that they are equipped to. For example, A. Assault Core can grant monster effect immunity, B. Buster Drake grants spell immunity, and C. Crush Wyvern grants trap immunity. As well, all three can sacrifice themselves to prevent the equipped monster from being destroyed by battle or card effect. And as a bonus, when one of these cards is sent to the graveyard from the field, they can either return a Union monster from the grave to the hand, add one from the deck to the hand, or special summon one from the hand instead. Interestingly, so far, there are only 8 A to Z main deck monsters. These are A, B, C, and VWXYZ. By this logic, it could be assumed that there are 18 letters left, as there's 26 letters in the alphabet, so more support is very much possible. And I mean, let's make some predictions, shall we? Or even a pitch to Konami. Why not? Let's look at the past to determine the future, shall we? We got XYZ first, and then we got VW, followed by ABC. So we seem to be working our way to the middle of the alphabet. So I propose the next cards to be released are STU, which does already exist. However, this is only in anime form. It exists as the equip spell Dimensional Destruction Cannon STU. So after this we would get Q and R, then we go back to the start with D, E, and F. And these guys could have some awesome defensive powers because, you know, it spells defense, you know. Then we go to NOP and LM, then back to GHI, and then to finish off the archetype, we get the final letters JK. And this is the important one. Make whatever this is be some kind of troll ability or troll card, because it spells out JK, just kidding. So yeah, why not? And of course, when all these are out, I haven't mentioned the fact we're going to get new extra deck monsters. We're going to have so many different possible combined fusion forms. It's going to be awesome, but I'm getting a little bit carried away here from speculating. Let's get back to the video. Carrying on in alphabetical order, we skip a few letters. We have the unofficial card of the series, Dimensional Destruction Cannon Super Thunder Unit, which serves as the S, T, and U of the alphabet soup naming scheme. This card's ability is that it lets you select one VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon in your grave and special summon it with its effects negated. However, it now has a piercing effect. After STU, we get V Tiger Jet, W Wing Catapult, X Head Cannon, Y Dragon Head, and Z Metal Tank. V and X serve as the only normal monsters, and their flavor text read, "This ace fighter is unbeatable in a dogfight. It combines with other monsters to launch an array of encircling attacks. A monster with a mighty cannon barrel. It is able to integrate its attacks. It attacks in many ways by combining and separating with other monsters." X's description, gloating about his barrel cannon, is kind of ironic, as it's the main reason for the mass censorship that this series of cards had, as every card that combined with X and had its guns in their artwork also had to be censored for being too violent. I'm making finger quotes there. W, Y, and Z all share almost identical archetypal effects, since they can all target specific monsters to equip themselves onto in order to boost their attack and defense by 400, or in the case of Z Metal Tank, by 600. And if the host would be destroyed, the equipped card would be destroyed instead. VW Tiger Catapult. All the extra deck monsters in this series need to be first special summoned from the extra deck by banishing the materials from the field. In the case of this monster, it needs to be V Tiger Jet and W Wing Catapult. But what do you get for combining these two? Well, you produce a monster that can change the battle position of any monster on the field at the cost of a card in the hand. And something that's worth noting is that all of the combined forms have no limit to how many times you can use their effects, since there is no once per turn written on any of them. So you have a big hand, you could do a lot of stuff. XY Dragon Cannon. Made from X Head Cannon and Y Dragon Head, this combination results in a monster that by discarding a card, you can destroy a face-up spell or trap the opponent controls. XZ Tank Cannon, known in the Japanese as XZ Caterpillar Cannon. Made from X Head Cannon and Z Metal Tank, this combination results in a monster that by discarding a card, you can destroy a face-down spell or trap. YZ Tank Cannon, known in the Japanese as YZ Caterpillar Dragon. Made this time with Y Dragon Head and Z Metal Tank, this combo results in a monster that, by discarding a card, you can destroy one face-down monster the opponent controls. Now then, let's move on to the big guns, shall we? We have XYZ Dragon Cannon, made from combining X-Head Cannon, Y Dragon Head, and Z Metal Tank. This result makes a monster that, when you discard a card, you can destroy anything on the opponent's side of the field. Funnily enough, this monster has had a few alternative artworks. However, due to its parts, all have been subsequently censored to remove any depictions of the violent real-world cannons in their art. VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon. The pinnacle of the V to Z section of this series, this monster is made by combining VW Tiger Catapult and XYZ Dragon Cannon. It results in a pretty powerful monster that can banish a card on the field, and when it attacks, it can manipulate the battle position of a monster. However, no matter how powerful it is, it can't resist the censorship ban hammer, because unfortunately, this card has also been censored. ABC Dragon Buster. Made by combining A Assault Core, B Buster Drake, and C Crush Wyvern, this card can be summoned, unlike the rest of the cards in this series, by banishing the cards from either the field or the graveyard. But what can it do when it's out? Well, once per turn, you can use the quick effect to discard a card, then target one card on the field and banish it. Then, during the opponent's turn, you can also quick effect, tribute this card, then target 3 of your banished Light Machine Union monsters with different names and special summon them. This is quite the plus, because you can dump further ABC monsters in the hand to the grave in order to quickly set up for another ABC Fusion summon. Overall, they can get a very strong monster, but unfortunately, due to its own abilities and ability to set up, it was limited in the OCG game to 1. A to Z Dragon Buster Cannon. Serving as the pinnacle of strength in this archetype. It is made by combining ABC Dragon Buster with XYZ Dragon Cannon from the field. When out, during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, or a monster effect, you can discard one card. Negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. During either player's turn, you can banish this card, then target one each of your banished ABC Dragon Buster and XYZ Dragon Cannon, special summon them. Finally, we have Armed Dragon Catapult Cannon, a combination of Chaz Princeton's 2 ace monsters, VWXYZ and Armed Dragon. This card must first be special summoned from the extra deck. During a duel, you special summoned both cards by banishing the above cards from the field and or graveyard. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects with the same name as any banished card. Once per turn during your opponent's turn. Quick effect, you can banish one card from your deck or extra deck face up, banish all cards your opponent controls, and in their graveyards. If you think that effect is OP, don't worry, this monster is tough to get out. The fact that this series isn't an archetype, most likely due to the fact that they don't have an archetypal name, since they all have different names. This probably means that they will never be classed as an archetype, and might be one of the reasons why they get such little support. However, there are cards that allude to this archetype and are made specifically for them without ever specifically mentioning them, such as Union Hanger, Ojama Pajama, Ojama Simulation, Union Scramble. These cards are all references to Chaz Princeton, who wielded an armed dragon, VWXYZ, and Ojama deck together. But with that is the A to Z series done. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Before we go, let's give a huge shout out to the people that helped make this video possible. Thank you firstly to my platinum backers that give that a little bit extra. Nimachan77, Daniel Toms, You Do 97. Thank you very much, guys. As well to my gold and YouTube backers, Michael Waklowski, Silver Defender, Stefan Pole, Danny Bound, Goosey Q, Ignis Drasil, Omar Lopez, Yugioh Everything, Yokaido Kenya, Queen Elizabeth Denise Leggin, Jeremy Pontier, Kobe Salvanayagam, and Jeremy Beng, as well to my silver backers. Thank you everyone for supporting this channel. Thank you for making these videos possible, and catch you later.